On today's show, the Dallas Mavericks get a win against the Miami Heat without basically their entire rotation. And they're going to be without their center rotation for a while. How long can they last? We'll tell you on today's Locked On Mavs.
I'm here because I have to be here. Explain yourself. Sorry.
You are Locked On Mavs.
Great, Rusty.
Your daily Dallas Mavericks podcast.
No one's dying.
Part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Dallas is going to get a seat at the table.
And let it ride. Welcome. You are Locked On to the Dallas Mavericks. My name is Nick Angstadt, media member covering the Dallas Mavericks for 10 years. Thanks for being an everyday or making Locked On Mavs your first listen today. Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Right now, new customers can get $150 in bonus bets if your first $5 bet wins. Joining me, as always, the post-game prodigy from the great Slightly Biased YouTube channel. What you got for me, Slightly Biased?
4-1 in their last 5. Are we
We'll
back?
take it. We'll take it. We back?
They might be back.
We might be back. Today's episode, Max Christie, what's his ceiling? He plays another good game for the Dallas Mavericks, another game of more than 15 points. Dante Exum has a hilarious game, and we'll get into that. This Dallas Mavericks team fights, they get a win, but slightly. We got to start here with Daniel Gafford. It's reported by Shams Charania that Daniel Gafford has a grade 3 right MCL sprain, will miss at least 6 weeks. Gafford, Davis, and Lively expected to miss significant stretches of the second half of the season. Hilarious that they mentioned it's second half because that's never really the case. That's actually not how numbers and halves work. But now it looks like Gafford is going to be out until the end of March, which is also kind of the prognosis on Dereck Lively. And Anthony Davis is going to be out a couple of weeks, and I don't know what to trust there. They say he's avoided surgery, which means he's probably going to come back at some point this season, but who knows? So, hey, Slightly, get ready to learn Kessler Edwards at center, buddy.
Get ready to learn you and I at center. I mean, we might get called out there at some point. They're just, hey, you guys have the media credit. You guys know what it's like back in the clubhouse. You guys just come on in. Yeah, I don't know. Unfortunate. 6 weeks is a long time, and that's at least 6 weeks. And then there's a ramp-up process from there. Yeah. So, I mean, you're talking about the very tail end of the season. We know the Lively's best-case scenario is pretty much very tail end of the season. We know that AD's very potentially end of season. And Dwight Powell, we have no idea what's going on. So, yeah, this is one of the more interesting. Kid has said this. He's never seen anything like this.
Yep.
I've never seen anything like this. I mean, we've seen teams deal with injuries and stuff. But the amount of injuries the Mavs have dealt with to key rotation players all season long, and now to not have a singular healthy front court player, like a single one outside of a two-way guy.
Kylo Ren Kelly erasure right there.
Yeah, but I mean, outside of a two-way guy that you just picked up a couple weeks ago, you don't have a single healthy front court body is just absolutely nuts. I mean, this has just been an insane season.
It doesn't make sense. I mean, the Grizzlies season last year, right, where they played the record number of guys. Didn't they have 30 guys on their roster like throughout the season, something like that? They had a ton of different ones, but to have such a strength of your team, to have the Lively Gafford pairing was supposed to be such a strength to play with one of the greatest pick and roll ball handlers of all time, and then all of a sudden now to then bring in Anthony Davis, and Anthony Davis was to add to that and become more of a strength. Oh, the Mavs are going to be huge. They're going to be this massive team that rebounds really well, defends the rim really well, to now go to none of them for a stretch here. I mean, you mentioned it. Unless Dwight Powell's mystery injury heals itself all of a sudden, or Anthony Davis is not as hurt as we think, it's going to be at least a month more without these two guys. And so who's coming back? All right, the guys that they get back after All-Star, it's Caleb Martin,
yeah,
right? We've kind of been talking about this Mavericks team. Okay, well, after the All-Star break, they'll get some guys back. It was supposed to be, Luka before, and now I guess it's just Caleb Martin coming back after All-Star, and maybe not even him. We'll see what happens with his injury.
And what's interesting about the Caleb Martin piece is one of the things that I heard when I was talking to people about the Caleb Martin trade was, well, Caleb Martin might be a lot better with the Mavs because he was kind of playing out of position a little bit with the Sixers, and on that front, he was having to play like guard, which isn't really his strength. But yeah, he's probably going to end up getting some small ball 5 minutes when he's back. Like, he just, for whatever reason, Caleb Martin cannot be on a team where he's just playing wing or forward or something like that. But yeah, I mean, this is crazy. I don't. It's really good that they're winning right now, and this group gives teams problems. Like we saw towards this final stretch of this game, the Heat just couldn't get their shooters open because the Mavs were just switching everything, and they were good at it because they had a bunch of switchable defenders on the court, and that was great. But man, it's just so hard to sustain that for an extended stretch. So we'll see.
That's the thing. You mentioned Caleb Martin coming back does help with that a lot because they are going to have to really push in these next literally minimum 4 weeks. This next month, they're going to have to really rely on the switching, on a bunch of wings playing at once, and Caleb Martin will help them there. To have an extra body there is going to be helpful. To have an extra guy that can do something on offense, can hit a three, can be guarded on offense is something that I think is going to help them. And so that is a positive, and they're going to have to lean into that a lot. I mean, you just look, but it is going to be very hard. It is going to be hard to have to just rely on what they've been doing these last couple of weeks. I mean, you saw even the Thunder struggle with that after a while. You just can't play this small for that long. And they have young guys, they have athletes, they have all defensive type players. I mean, the Mavericks don't have that to that level right now. And it is just this is a tough injury to have to deal with. I expected Gafford to be out for the season, so I guess this is a little bit better than what I expected, and so maybe I should not be as flabbergasted as I am right now. But just to look at the numbers and to see the injuries kind of line up, like you start putting it in the calendar. Okay, AD's going to be out at least 4 weeks, probably longer. Lively probably out the rest of the season or a ramp up at the end. Gafford out for 6 weeks, and Dwight Powell mystery injury, who knows? And that it's stark. And so I don't know, what do? They have an open roster spot.
Yeah, but I said I was going to look at the CBA stuff, but I didn't look at it.
It's so complicated to try.
It is very complicated. They're limited to what they can do. It's not like they can go and the Lakers were like, we need a center, and they got Alex Len, who I guess was the #1 target on the buyout market, and he is horrid. He's horrible. So I going small just. What?
Don't worry. Kendrick Perkins said, Alex Len fans, don't be worried. See what LeBron can do with him. He talked. God, that was the funniest thing where Kendrick Perkins said, Alex Len fans, don't worry. See what LeBron can do with him. And I was like, there are Alex Len fans. Yeah, where are those? Where are those people?
Interesting. Yeah, that's me, actually. I'm an Alex Len fan. And I was like, man, I just don't know if I like this for Alex. No, I don't know what. They probably are just going to stick to this. And it is ironic that your new look team is supposed to just be massive. I mean, just a massive team, and now you're the smallest team in the league. Like, really, easily the smallest team in the sport.
Yeah, them and I mean the Pelicans have been dealing with this all year too. They've kind of had that situation too, where they didn't come into the season really with a center. Daniel Tice was supposed to be their guy, and then he's gone. Yves Missi he's listed at 6'10". He never looks 6'10" to me, but they've been dealing with this all season, and look at them. I mean, they're terrible.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, we compared them to the Grizzlies last year. Look at the Grizzlies, like what they've finished the season as.
Are these injuries, the Mavs have been, like you said, they've won 4 out of their last 5. But do you look at these injuries and say, all right, they're not going to make the play-in anymore? Because that's really what we're talking about.
Man, it's just the thing that's working in your favor is the West is kind of a disaster in this 11, 12 through 7 or 6 clump. You have the Suns who have rolled over and died.
Oh,
you have, and then maybe the All-Star break will be good for them. I don't know, but their vibes are horrible. Like they're just the Suns are such an interesting team because it's like, yeah, this is the last 2 months of Kevin Durant on our team. Like that's just how they're operating. The Spurs are just probably not really ready yet. The Kings don't look very good to me, even when they beat the Mavs. I didn't leave very impressed with them.
They just added Markelle Fultz. Does that
they
move
did
the needle for you?
Markelle Fultz. That's true. No, the Warriors will probably be better, but it's not any of none of these teams look like they're just gonna run away with this. So it's kind of like similar to what the Sixers have going on, where it's just, man, the Sixers you would think are done and cooked, but it's just given the circumstances, they're not. Like they'll still have a couple of good weeks and you're kind of safe.
Yeah, you're hoping that a team doesn't do what the Mavericks did last year, which is go on a rampage after the All-Star break and all of a sudden come out of the gate and then just force you down the standings. And I guess it's only just the teams behind you, the Kings, the Warriors, Suns, Spurs, right? That's it. That's it. You're just hoping one of those teams doesn't make some kind of huge, crazy run.
That's true.
And I guess at this point, as long as the Mavs stay afloat, it would have to be multiple teams like that. And that's just to be in the play-in. That's just to be in the play-in. And so,
look, the reality is a championship's not happening this year. Like it's just not. They don't have enough. And then beyond that, it's so hard to win middle of season after you made a huge trade. That just historically is the case. And also the continuity aspect of it. Like, let's just say last couple weeks, AD's back and Lively's back. Those guys will have like 4 games before the playoffs start, the postseason starts. And that's just not enough continuity. So I just want to see him play competitive basketball from here until the end of the season. That's my hopes and dreams.
Yeah, it's now the focus turns to the guys we're going to talk about right now. Yeah. Max Christie. It turns to what can a Dante Exum be? What can some of these other guys look to be? And we saw in this game they continue to fight and they're playing Mavericks basketball. We'll talk about that and more coming up. Today's episode of Locked on Mavs brought to you by, hold on one second, I got to check a message, and it's my DoorDash. It's coming right to the arena. It's coming to, I'm going to get it delivered right here because you can get DoorDash delivered anywhere. NBA fans, get ready. They swoosh, you save thanks to Dash Pass. Every time a player drops 50 or more points in a game, you score a huge deal the next day. That happened literally yesterday. Jamal Murray scored 55. When a player scores 50 or more in a game during the 2024-2025 NBA regular season, Dash Pass members get 50% off an order up to $10 off the next day from noon to midnight. So exactly when all of us order DoorDash. Who's ordering breakfast DoorDash? That would be interesting. All kinds of ways that you can take advantage of the deal. You can get lunch on the go. Need a quick and easy lunch the next day with Dash Pass. You can get your favorite meals with $0 delivery fees and reduced service fees. Plus, now you save even more money with this exclusive NBA offer. Sign up for Dash Pass and be ready to save. When any player scores 50 or more, again, it just happened yesterday, Dash Pass members get 50% off an order the next day up to $10 off. Just use the promo code NBA50, the number 5 and the number 0, from noon to midnight after a 50-point game on eligible orders on participating merchants. Must have an active Dash Pass account. Terms apply. Visit DoorDash to learn more. Check it out. Dash Pass. Use the promo code NBA50.
Shut it down! Let's go home!
Thanks for hanging out with us on Locked on Mavs, being part of the show, part of the Raccoon Squad, what we call our listeners. We appreciate each and every one of you for checking out the show. Shout out to the Raccoon Squad member that walked up to me and, like a thief in the night, an anti-thief because he actually gave me something instead of taking something, gave me this shirt that I just cracked up about. He said, "Don't put this on because you will get kicked out of the arena." Shout out to the Raccoon Squad member that gave me this.
It says, "I witnessed the worst trade in NBA history."
It did. I also got another shirt from another listener. I was just giving all kinds of stuff today. Shout out to the listener that gave me this. Nico Harrison with the clown nose shirt will live in infamy. Hilarious. The Mavs fan base is, I don't know. That feels like they've not given up on the frustration, but they've kind of just shrugged and been like, all right, fine. I guess this is our reality now. Because there's a lot of cheering for this team. There has been the last couple of games. We haven't seen, tonight we didn't see very many of the signs or the chants. There's a couple people that tried to do a Fire Nico chant over in that area, but I think it was the same guy that Mark Cuban yelled at on last night's game that tried to get it going. There was one moment in the game where I could audibly hear a Fire Nico chant try to get going, but it was all the way across the arena, and it didn't really go anywhere. The security you've heard all the stories. They've been telling people to turn shirts inside out, have been telling people to they can't bring in certain signs, can't get chants going, and all that kind of stuff. That's just what the Mavs have decided to do. I'm now being given shirts, and I'm now being given merch. And right now, Mavs fans are just like shirt dealers right now because they're like secretly giving each other these shirts. Like, hey, don't put this on, but here, you didn't get this from me.
Yeah, I think anyone who's kind of we're 2 weeks now past the trade. I think for some people that first home game and maybe even the second one too was like a real kind of closure moment where it was I'm gonna go, I have tickets or whatever. I'm gonna boo. I'm gonna make sure my voice is heard, and that's kind of gonna be it for me. That's how some people I was talking to. That's what they said. was that they were there, they went to the protest, they maybe went to the game, and that was going to be that. So I think you have that some people have moved on 100%. And, we're reaching the point in the trade like in time where it's been long enough now that if you have moved on, then you've probably just completely moved on and you aren't really paying much attention to the team and you're definitely not going to games. And, it's one of the biggest cities in the United States. There's so many people. If you've been to Mavs games before, especially lower bowl, the crowd that's there sometimes sometimes they're not the biggest basketball fans. Sometimes
just here to have fun.
Just here to have fun. They're with their family or it's an after work thing. They have company tickets, whatever the case may be. It's always been like a common complaint about the Mavs crowd. And the reality is you weren't going to get 20,000 people in the arena every night booing. Like that was just not going to happen. But I don't like the way the Mavs handled it necessarily. I thought they definitely poured some gasoline on the fire with kicking fans out. And, I know Cuban's probably upset and stuff, but probably tired of hearing stuff. But,
he got community noted yesterday.
He got community noted. Yeah, I don't think I feel for his situation because I'm sure it's not easy for him to be in. But yeah, I feel like you telling a fan to, what he said. Can't say it out here. I almost said it. I forgot what you're on.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
I can see in your eye you're getting concerned. I
oh my God.
It's probably not, the best course of action to take there at all. Is such a public facing face of your franchise saying that to a fan. But their authoritarian campaign must have worked because it does seem like people are just kind of like, all right, like I don't want to get kicked out of this game. Like if I'm going to it.
I said this the other day. The Mavs have the Mavs message. It was the night Luka debuted for the Lakers. The Lakers message to everyone was, let's go, let's move forward because now we have Luka. The Mavs message was, let's move on. Let's move on. Let's move on and let's move past this. And I feel like that's the message that they tried to give to fans. And like, I don't blame any fan for being so frustrated and being done with the team. I also don't blame any fan for saying, I'm frustrated. I feel like I'm done with the team. It may not ever be the same to me, but I still love basketball, enjoy basketball. It's something that I enjoy in my life, and I want to come and cheer on a team because this team is giving you something to cheer about because this team fought really hard in this game tonight against the Heat. The Mavs were they were way under talented in this game. You had a legitimate all-star in Tyler Hero. He got named to the team. On the Heat side, they had a couple other players too. They were missing players too. Bam Adebayo, Andrew Wiggins, Rozier, other players. Rozier probably a positive for the Mavericks.
I was about to say that's right there.
Unless he had money on his rebounds or something like that.
True.
But the Mavericks were missing 7 of their top 11 rotation players. No starters played in this game, but they got Dante Exum, who came out. X gonna give it to you for 27 points. And the funniest part about his game was that Davion Mitchell and him got into a little bit of a dust up. And Dante Exum decided to make it his mission that anytime Davion Mitchell, who was a good defender, small, but a really, really excellent defender, he was going to make it his mission to go at him every single time he could. And he scored 27 points in this game and had a great one for the Mavs.
Yeah, there's a reason why. Let me go back a little bit and make one last point about the fan thing.
Okay.
You don't need permission from it. You don't need to explain to anybody what you decided to do post this trade. Like, whatever your heart desires, do it. There's nobody will blame you for anything that you do. So, and there's also nothing wrong with the fans speaking their mind. The team probably needed to chill out a little bit about that. But anyways, let's move on. Exum, there's a reason why we spent a lot of the season, anytime the Mavs had a rough game or there was some moments from other guards that pissed you off, like there's a reason why we'd be like, hey, Exum's coming back at some point, right? Like that's going to be nice to have, just like a professional guy off the bench.
Remember when that was the one injury we were waiting for? We can't evaluate this team without Exum.
Yeah, it's true. God. It's like, well, this guard's not going to play a lot when Exum's back. But you see it. He's just a professional basketball player. He's smart. He's aggressive. Sometimes he doesn't shoot, but he's aggressive, putting pressure on the rim and driving. And there's times in games where he just can't miss inside the paint, and his layups are difficult, man. Like he has some really tough takes, and it just makes things happen for you offensively. The defense collapses, you get guys in rotation. It's just really important to have a guy like that. So it's good to see Exum back. It's good for him to see him uber confident. That's a big thing for him, and he's looked really solid lately.
He had some great defense too on that final play that the Heat had, where it was Jovic that came up with the ball. and Exum was guarding him, and then Hero got the ball, and Exum was guarding Hero, and he had to switch, and then he had to switch back, and then all of a sudden he was guarding and he was contesting Hero's three in the corner, and he missed, and that was a huge moment because they could have tied the game at that point. So you got great defense from him. You got 27 points, and you had some hilarity. And he had the foul on Tyler Hero with 1:41 left, where Hero hit the three on the other side. And a phantom foul. There was no contact. I don't know where the foul was coming from in that play.
Was a foul.
Okay. I didn't think it was.
He was just. I don't think he gave him too much space. Is the problem. He didn't touch him, but it was very difficult for Hero to land.
Now we do that. I'm not touching you. The little brother, little sister thing. That's a foul now.
I mean, that's how the Brandon Williams was too. He didn't touch him, but it was just he didn't have. You got to give him some space to land. They'll call that.
I didn't think he was in his landing space either, but. Then immediately after that, Dante Exum took offense to that call and then flopped as hard as possible against Tyler Hero and got 2 free throws out of it. Put the Mavs up 114 to 108.
That was a foul, though. He actually did get hit in the face.
We completely disagree on both these calls. I guess
No, he got hit in the face by Hero.
Okay, I was on the opposite end of the court, so it looked like a super flop to me.
He did. He sold it for sure, but they show one of the. It was after the ball got poked away, but on Hero's follow through, he got him in the face. It looked like. But yeah, that was, and the free throw shooting at the end, not only from Exum but from everybody, huge. I mean, huge. Christie hit some. No, I guess Christie didn't. He was 0 of 0 from.
He hit a jumper. He hit a jumper though with a minute left that put him up 4.
Spins hit free throws.
Dinwiddie hit the 2 daggers.
Big. Yeah. Professional basketball player Dante Exum.
Absolutely. Coming up, let's talk about Christie for that clutch bucket. Everything else he did in this game. What's his ceiling? What can he be for this Mavs team? We'll talk about that and more. Coming up. Today's episode of Locked On Mavs brought to you by FanDuel. FanDuel Sportsbook has all kinds of props and odds, things that you can use to get in on the action when the game tips off. NBA action is just getting started. You got to know that. There's no better place to get in on it than FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. If you've kind of given up on the Mavs, it's not as special to you anymore. Well, then maybe, just put some down on it. Maybe that's something that you want to do. Mavs-Lakers, for no reason in particular, I'm going to pick out this game specifically. February 25th. Lakers are a 7-point favorite in that game, which – I don't know. We'll see who's healthy by that point at this point. So you can go check that out. All kinds of other things, too. They've got All-Star Game. Guys, please gamble responsibly and call the number. Team Shaq is a 6.5-point favorite against Team Candace. Team Chuck is a 3.5-point favorite against Team Kenny. I can't think off the top of my head who is on those teams, but you can go bet on them on FanDuel. Right now, new customers can bet $150 in bonus bets if your first $5 bet wins. Just visit FanDuel.com and join today. Make every moment more. FanDuel, official sportsbook partner of the NFL.
Shut it down! Let's go home!
All right, Slightly. Max Christie, 19 points, 5 boards, 5 assists, 3 steals, a block. Just had some massive moments in this game, including what we just mentioned. 1:07 left, an ISO drive, spin fade, jump shot right against Duncan Robinson to put the Mavs up 4. That was such a clutch bucket. He also had a bucket to start the game where it was an ISO pull-up step-back jumper. And facetiously I said this, but I want to get your take on just how close it could be potentially. If Max Christie turns into SGA, I will say Nico Harrison is a genius. I think that's the only way, though.
I mean, I don't see the similarities in their game whatsoever.
No, just that he created jumpers and he was getting buckets.
I guess if he turns into an MVP candidate, well, yeah, then you can turn around and be like, whoa, what did we see at the time that Straight Hat went down? But my favorite thing from Christie, and this is what I'm gonna say, and I want to plant my flag here now. That way, I can just go back to it whenever I inevitably get frustrated when they lose a game and someone doesn't shoot well. I want to plant my flag now when the vibes feel good. During this stretch, I like the fact he took 19 shots. 19 points, not the most efficient game. 19 shots, I don't care. Shoot it. I like that Kessler Edwards got up 4 threes. It helps that he made them, but I would have sat here and said the same thing had he missed them. Just during this, I look, just to prove my point. Hardy went 0 of 8 tonight, and he had a couple wild shots. But I thought some of his threes were good shots that just didn't drop. And he's just having a confidence problem.
Crazy funk.
So funky out there. But
give up the funk. You gotta have that funk.
Please, we do not want that funk. We do not want that funk. But
we don't.
You just need guys to be aggressive during the stretch when you're missing so many players. And obviously Kyrie, being at this game adds to that. But, that's what I like to see is Kessler Edwards, or not Kessler Edwards, yes, but Max Christie letting that thing fly, shooting the ball, not 3 of 11 from 3. He didn't hesitate once. The moment he had a sliver of space from behind the arc, he was letting it fly. I like that. So that was one thing. A lot of on-ball reps for him tonight too. And he had 4 turnovers.
He hesitated one time with 27 seconds left. Dinwiddie threw to a cutting Naji Marshall, who kicked out to Max Christie, who was not ready for that ball and airballed it. That was the one time. But that, to your point, that kind
fumbled the catch. I don't know if that was more of a hesitation. I think he just fumbled it.
Right. He was either not ready for it or whatever he decided to do. But that plus the couple of turnovers that he had, they were mostly early in the game. You want him to go through those reps now. That's the thing that you want him to go through if he's ever going to reach the, I was being facetious about SGA, but to level up as a player, he needs those reps and needs those on-ball reps to be able to do some of those things. And this is a game that got him those opportunities. I want to point out his defense too, because I thought he was great on defense at times in this game. First quarter, he had a moment at 450, 416, and 245 in the first quarter. He had a block on Hero at the rim, a stop on Jaime Jaquez under the rim, and a stop on Nikola Jovic under the rim. Like 3 plays in a row basically on defense where he got stops under the rim. Like just great player, has incredible hands.
Yeah, I mean, that was the thing I like too, is when he goes up against Jaime Jaquez is a strong driver. I mean, he had a couple of drives early in the game where it was just big. Like he was just bigger than the guy he was going up against. It's, just holding your own there, bodying guys up, walling off guys, and making life as difficult as possible when guys are driving to the rim. And I mean, he's exactly what you want in a role guy. I mean, it's just literally everything that you want in a role guy, pretty much. Plays within his role, can play outside of his role at times if you really need it, ready to go at any given moment, doesn't hesitate, not scared, defends really hard, plays really hard for 48 minutes. And, it's just a professional at 22 years old.
Love it.
Love it.
Kessler Edwards started at center. He was surprised. He said he was shocked when he saw that he was listed as a center on the starter sheet, which I thought was hilarious. Jason Kidd in his postgame presser also said that he heard on a podcast that Kessler Edwards should be starting. It wasn't us.
I don't think that was us.
It wasn't us. I don't think it was us. So maybe our friends over at DLLS. That sounds like a Bobby Carralla take to me.
Was this just like everyone's injured? I guess Kessler Edwards has to start take, or was this like 3 months ago?
That one could be us.
If this was 3 months ago, like Kessler Edwards needs to be in the lineup.
But Kessler Edwards had, I thought, some really great contributions to this game. He had 13 points in that third quarter where he just everything was going in. Putbacks, hit 3 threes, was massive. He also had 4 offensive rebounds in this game, couple of assists as well. And he contributed to this game, and the Mavs don't win the game unless he gives you those contributions.
Yeah, and I mean, he deserves so much props because just think about what's going through his mind. He's a guy who's kind of bounced around the league now, kind of like on his way out the league. Gets a 2-way contract with the Mavs. I think the idea, his agent's probably telling him, hey, this is a decent opportunity. If you get some minutes, you're going to play alongside a guy like Luka and Kyrie and just be a 3-and-D guy or be asked to guard whoever they need to guard. And fast forward, it's February, and you're the starting center on the team. I mean, just like an insane turn of events. And man, it just goes along with all the other guys we've seen step up. Is he just plays hard. He plays really, really hard, 100% effort. And, he has his faults as a player, no 2 ways around that, but he gives you effort every single second. And being asked to be a center, and you could see it sometimes. Like Spencer Dinwiddie had a turnover early in the game, and it was Kessler Edwards setting a ball screen. And I don't think Dinwiddie thought that he was going to start his roll to the rim much sooner than he did. And that was just a turnover. It wasn't Spence's fault. It wasn't even really Kessler Edwards' fault. It's just this guy's not used to doing this. And it's just one of those things. But yeah, I'm really impressed by him. I've been impressed by his effort, and just really, you got to give him a ton of props, and you got to give him his flowers for what he's doing. I think before the game, they probably told him like, hey, if you're open and you catch the ball, shoot it immediately.
You have to. Yeah, you
got
immediately.
To. We don't care if you miss. And he went 3 of 4.
The Mavs fight. These Mavs fight. A great win going into the All-Star break. Tough break with the injuries for sure, but at least you get to see. It's a fun team that's easy to root for, I guess, and I'll take that, right? All these guys together. And so, guys, thanks for hanging out with us on Locked On Mavs. Appreciate you for checking out the show. Go check out Slightly Biased, great YouTube channel. He has the documentary of the Luka era over on his channel right now. Go check that out. Guys, thanks so much for listening to Locked on Mavs. We'll be back with All-Star Weekend episodes and all kinds of stuff next week. Thanks so much for listening to Locked on Mavs. Peace out. Boom!
Stay healthy at the game, Kyrie, please.
Don't play. Just don't play.
Yeah.